Well, hello everybody, and welcome again to the Community Awareness Talk Show. And I have a beautiful young lady that I'm going to be talking to today. And this will not be your last time seeing her on the Community Awareness Talk Show live with your girl, with your girl, with your girl. We're spreading love and care to the community. And if y'all would do me a favor right about now, whoever is tuning in, whether you're tuning in via YouTube or Facebook, hey, share this video because we got some important information that you need to be thinking about. And it's a little while off. It's going to be November, I think it's November 2026. But guess what? We need you all to be familiar with this name. I don't know why she didn't put her last name. I don't know why she didn't put her credentials. She is Chief Deputy at the Clerk of Court. But next time, we had a time trying to get on here,
We
y'all.
did. We did. We'll do better next time.
So we'll do better next time. We'll do better next time. And she'll have all that information. Ooh, turn that down. Turn my phone down. So that's on Facebook. Okay, well, we had a time trying to get on here, but we're on here now. And just go ahead and introduce yourself. Let them know what your position is and what your name is, and actually where you're from.
Okay. So my name is Alicia Fussell. I am from Kentwood. I live in Kentwood. I grew up in Amite. Graduated from Amite High School. I'm a warrior, or I was a warrior. But I currently work for the Clerk of Court's office, Tangipahoa Parish Clerk of Court. I'm the chief deputy there for Mr. Gary Stanga, and I've been there for 27 years. So I've worked in multiple departments in the office and worked my way up. And then when Mr. Stanga was elected clerk, he asked me to be his chief deputy. So I've been serving in that position since 2018 now.
Okay, 2018, that's about 7 years.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay, okay. Now before you became the deputy, what was your what different positions did you where did you start off at?
Okay, so
Yeah.
when I first started at the clerk's office, I started at what we call our recording desk, and that's where attorneys or just someone comes in to record a document. It's kind of an intake desk, so you have to be very familiar with notarial acts and where they're recorded in our office, whether it's a mortgage or a conveyance. So I started there,
Okay.
and then I went to work in our civil department. Our civil department processes all of the civil paperwork that's filed with us. We issue all of the papers, and we assist the customers. So I stayed there for about 9 years, I guess. And while I was in that department, I started helping another lady in the office. Her name was Carolyn Williams. She oversaw the elections department, and I kind of assisted her with that. And then she actually got sick and she left the office, and so I was asked to take that position. So when she left, I stepped into that position, which was an unknown for me. I wasn't familiar with that. That is a huge part of what the clerk's office does. Is the clerk is the chief elections officer for the parish. So
Mhm.
I was running that department for him. And so I stayed in that position for about 16 years. So I did everything related to the elections in the office. And so, like I said, that's a huge part of what we do. We have to recruit and train commissioners. It's a lot of logistics for us. We have to, we'll assign the commissioners to the precinct, make sure the voting machines get out, and everything that goes along with that. So, anyway, so I served in that position for, like I said, about 16 years. And then I was appointed the chief deputy. So I'm very familiar with every facet of the office. So.
Okay, okay, okay. Um, when you came in, did you come in with a college degree, or did you get it later? How,
Right. So, like I said, I graduated from Amite High School, 1990, and then I went to LSU to their paralegal school. So that was my training initially. let me back up. I did go to Southeastern for 2 years. Then I moved to LSU and I got my paralegal certificate. So that was my training for many years, which a paralegal and clerk's office kind of work hand in hand. So that made me, very familiar with all of the things that go on in the clerk's office. And I also did title work, which is a huge thing in our office as well. And then I went back to Southeastern and I got my degree in business administration from Southeastern. So that's my education. And then since I've been in the clerk's office, I'm also a graduate of the Leadership Tangipahoa class. So I don't know if, you're familiar or your viewers are familiar with it, but that's a very
prestigious.
Yeah, it's a very good thing. It teaches you a lot about your parish and, being that we are there to help the public. I learned a lot about the parish. I thought I knew a lot, but I learned a lot more. So it's just good resources that I can pass on to other people who may not be familiar with where to go for certain things. So, it's a very good class.
That's a great class. My sister
Yes.
was the regional director of one of the guarantee banks, and
Okay.
she had to go to that. Y'all
Yeah.
had to cover a little bit, and then y'all had to graduate from it. Yeah, it was real
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. We actually went through it. It was the COVID year, so our year was cut kind of short, but we enjoyed, and then you just make lifelong friends through that process as well. So it's a very good program. So
Okay, I understand. In interviewing Gary back when the time he was running for the re-election of clerk and court, he said the experience he had in business and management. Now you have been from down from the bottom up in that office. Because I was saying, I want to support you because I feel like you probably wasn't even thinking about it at the time, but I feel like even when Gary and I think it was Mr. Dufresne became
mhm.
court to court, looked like I don't know if you had the skills at that time, but looked like they could have moved you up, or you could have ran for that position. But I guess that was not your desire at the time.
No, no, not at that time. I was raising my kids and, I was focused on being a mother at that time. So I was right where I needed to be at that time, just learning the office. And, I have worked for 4 clerks. I worked for Mr. Carmen Moore. In high school, I had a part-time job there. And then, I went off to college and did all the things. And then I came back, and that's Mr. John Dahmer hired me on full time. So I worked for Mr. Dahmer and then Mr. Dufresne and now Mr. Stanga. So I like to say I've worked for 4 clerks. They allowed me the opportunity to get my foot in the door and work and get the knowledge. But now I'm going to have to go to the people for them to allow me to continue to working for them in the office. So
So, do you know? Can you think about when you decided that you would want to run for clerk? Uh,
it was after I became chief deputy and really saw the office from a different perspective, from the business side, really running the office, and then having the knowledge of the inner workings of the office. That was kind of like, okay. And then I was at a point in my life, my kids are grown. I've past that. And so and then, Gary knowing that he's going to retire. And so I just felt like, it was the time for me to give it a try. So I have the experience. I know the office. I know what we're there to do. I know our purpose. I have a passion for the office, and I have a passion for helping the people. I really enjoy helping people because so many times people come in our office, they come and they know that they need something. They just don't exactly know what it is. And so they'll sit down and tell me what they're doing, what they're trying to do, and then I can guide them. And if it's something in our office, obviously we get it for them, help them with it, but it may not be in our office. They may need another office, and I can guide them over there. So, I really enjoy being able to help people because, when people come to us, like I said, they just don't quite know what they need. They know that they need something, but the things that we do in our office isn't something that people deal with every day. So it can be overwhelming to them, confusing. And so we like to be that assistance to help guide them through whatever they're trying to work through, because our office does so many things. People come to us for so many different things. So anyway, so yeah, so that's when Gary knew that he wasn't going to run again. I said, well, it's time. It's
Right.
time.
And as you're saying what you're saying, being that you've been there so long, and being that you started out at the bottom, and being that, like you were saying, a lot of times people don't know what they want. You know right off the bat when they start talking how to direct them and what they want and what they need. Have you encountered? Because I know Gary has, and I'm sure Mr. Dufresh has. But even before you were deputy and being deputy, have you had a lot of encounter with a lot of different people in the public, the people that actually come there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It started when I was, working in our elections department, because like I said, we have to recruit and train commissioners. And so I was able to meet so many people across the parish who work for us as commissioners. So that's where I really got to meet a lot of people through that work. And then now as chief deputy, it just continues. I still have commissioners call me today, and I'm not over that department, but I'm still very in tune with that department. I know what's going on, and so yeah, I mean, every day there's somebody that we're helping with something. So, and then.
Uh, Go ahead, baby. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, one of the other things that we are, the clerk is the keeper of records. That is our main job, is we keep all of the records of the parish. So it's very important that we make those records accessible to the public. And so, people come in the office, we can help them with it. But on I guess kind of the flip side of that too is attorneys need our records. That whenever you buy or you sell a home, your deed and your mortgage is recorded with us. And so all the things that go into that process, the attorneys and notaries have to be able to access those records. So years ago, you had to come into our office to access them. Well, now they're available online. And we're building on that, making just about everything that is allowed by law accessible to the public online. Now there is a fee for that because we are a fee-driven office, but I'm very in tune to what the attorneys need and to make it easily accessible to them. But not just attorneys. I mean, anybody can access it online. It's just that is the group of people who typically demand it more so because that's what they use in their daily work. So I'm very in tune to that, very driven to try and get as much as that available online as we can. And we have a lot, and that's just the way everything is going. Everything will be online. So, but all of the old stuff is what, takes time to get online. So anyway,
And
that's
as you said, you started when you was in high school, so you are, from what I see, well rooted and grounded in the clerk of court's office. And
yeah.
what took
I was
place,
just a copy clerk then. I just made copies, I didn't, but
no, you didn't
yeah,
say
you still get a feel of, what's what, because there's a lot of history in the office, knowing where to find those things. And that's where it started. And I have just built on that over the years. So,
okay. How about okay, what are the exact things that you have done to vastly improve the operation?
well, the first thing when I became chief deputy, I was driven to make sure that we got a software that was compatible with the times, with the technology that we need now. And part of that technology is being able to allow our judges to sign documents by digital signature. So that was my first big project as chief deputy, with the blessing of Mr. Stanga. And so we implemented a new software that, like I said, allows all of our judges to sign documents digitally. And so the public may think, well, why do I care? Why does that affect me? So if you come to our office and you have to file any type of civil pleading, it could be a divorce, a protective order, custody, anything like that that requires a judge's signature, you want it handled as fast as possible, right?
Right.
So if you bring it to us today, we scan it, we do the things that we have to do, and then we can send it to the judge's email box immediately. And they have pretty much immediate access to it. Whereas before we were handling paper and we were moving paper. And so, and you can imagine that takes time. And so anyway, so that was huge. That was a big accomplishment for us. That took a long time to get that implemented. And I would like to say we're the first clerk's office in the 21st Judicial District that did implement this to allow our judges to sign digitally. So
Okay, so
anyway.
that was something that you was very creative about.
Yeah, it was. It took, and look, let me say this too. We have a great staff in our office. We have roughly 55 employees. We have the best staff, and they worked with us to get through this process. It wasn't anything that I did on my own. It took a village, and we have some really great staff, and they helped us with that as well. So that was my first, I would say, major project that I did as chief deputy. And then one of the other things that we implemented, and this was Gary's idea, and it has been great. It's the property fraud alert system. Some of your listeners may have heard about it because we've been trying to get out and about and talk about that. But that's just a way for people to have a protection to protect if anyone's trying to record something as it relates to their property. So we do that, and we maintain that. And then something else that we do, we've been doing this for several years. This actually started under Mr. Dufresh, but we've continued to do it because we understand the importance it is to the people of the parish and surrounding areas as we issue birth certificates for vital records. We don't maintain those records in our office, but we make them accessible to the public. So somebody, here, rather than having to drive to New Orleans or wait for New Orleans to mail it to them, they can come in our office and they can get it in about 10 or 15 minutes, that's huge. So like I said, that was something that was started with Mr. Dufresh, but we understand the importance of it. We have to put additional resources into it. It does take additional staff. And we've made that commitment that is something that we're going to do and continue to do to, allow that, to provide that service for our citizens here in Tangipahoa Parish.
All right. And so
Yeah.
this is the lowest level job up there, and are y'all still hiring for that, or y'all don't need people for that anymore? I don't know, that might be something I can do, make copies. So that's
No, no,
you don't need a lot of education and experience to make copies.
yeah. No, we're fully staffed right now. Like I said, we have a good staff where it's a good office to work in. So, typically when we get somebody in, that they stay for the long haul. So turnover is very little, other than retirements and things like that. So,
but I was just saying that is still a department, though. That is still
yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. We are committed to that, to
That's
doing that. Yep.
that's good.
Yeah,
That still sounds good because you never know.
that's right. And
And
then,
somebody else might need to know that there's a certain job where you make copies. And
yeah.
today, you make
And
copies.
then one of the other things, and I kind of talked about it a little bit, but it is so important. I want to stress it again, is just making more and more documents available online. Whenever attorneys or abstractors are doing research on a piece of property prior to it being sold, they need access to our records. So we're in the process of completing a project that's going to give access to conveyance records back to roughly 1930s, which is huge. Right now we start at online, we go back to about 1952. So we're doing one more project to make those records available back to around 1930. So that's a huge a huge accomplishment as well. So, like I said, the average person probably doesn't understand how that affects them in their everyday life. But if you ever purchase, sell land, then on their behalf, there will be somebody in our office researching our records or online researching our records.
Okay, okay. Well, that's great to know. Um, when I heard you talk a little bit about it, I was listening with the second ear and stuff, but the public is hearing everything you're saying. But because you've been through a lot of departments and you moved on and climbed up the ladder. And see me, I'm the type of person like this, and I even see jobs like what you have, just like I see the church. If there's a minister there that has went through the Sunday school teacher, the superintendent, maybe even the secretary, the treasurer, and then the assistant to the pastor, I don't really believe that outsiders ought to come in and take over that position. I
Yeah,
believe
yeah,
that people are supposed to move up the ranks and
yeah.
somebody qualified like yourself are. And I know a lot of people may hate me for that, but I did hear about you early on, and then I've seen your qualifications and heard how you moved up. I still look at the fact that you had to, which you wasn't interested, but you sat through Do Fresh and you sat through Gary,
Mhm.
and you could not run against Gary because you know you weren't gonna win.
Right, right. No, I wouldn't do
Even
that.
if you
Of
were
course.
thinking about it, it would
Yeah,
have been more game. So you waited your turn. So
yeah, I'd say so. And, I was happy to do that. Like I said, when I started, I was raising my family and, as a mother, that's our focus, is our kids. And so, I just feel like I'm in a good position, but I do want to say, I do understand,
age too. I don't know exactly how old you are, but you still got longevity. Even though you've been there a long time, but you're still a little bit too young to retire, and you
right.
still got some longevity, and you know the job.
Right, right. And I do. I mean, I know the job and I know I'm the most qualified for the job, but I also understand that it is the people's vote that allows me to stay there. And I respect that, that is our democracy. That's how it works. And so that's why I want people to know that, I am qualified, I am passionate, but I understand that I need the people to see me, to see my qualifications, to elect me for the position. Like I said, 4 clerks have allowed me to work there. So I think that speaks volumes if I've had 4 clerks who've kept me there and, let me continue to learn and move up. And so now to go to the people of this parish and say, please vote for me. Please allow me to stay as your clerk of court. I have the utmost respect for that process. So,
And another thing about it, people don't like, but from what you just told me, the people that you sat on, and I don't know how long the clerk of court has been in existence and how many more they had before the 4 that you sat under. But would you be because some people don't like to vote for women. So will you be the first woman to be clerk of court if you were
so So years ago, there was a clerk, Mr. Alvin Steyer. He was the clerk. I don't remember the dates, but it was way before my time. He passed away. Well, when he passed away, his wife served in his position. Now, I don't recall if she was ever elected to the position or she just served in the position until there was an election. So his wife was the clerk for a period of time,
the first
but
woman?
that's been a long, long time ago. So,
Oh,
I can't say I'm the first because there was a woman who served in the position, but I would be
but
the first woman in
you
a
may,
long time.
you may be the first to be elected.
Yeah, yeah. And so,
Okay, okay. Well, that's awesome. So, I think we covered a lot, but we need to cover some more later. But
yeah.
was there in particular, how old are your kids?
So my son he's grown. He's 26. He lives in Hammond, and I have a daughter. She's still at home. She's a senior at Southeastern, so she'll be
Okay,
graduating next year. So yeah,
you have a
there.
okay, okay.
Yeah. But one thing I did want to say though is so our election is in 2027. I think you may have said 26 earlier. It is confusing because it is so far out. Yeah. So we run when the sheriff runs, when parish president runs, when the governor runs. So our election is with the gubernatorial election.
Oh, okay. See, I knew the mayor election is in 2026.
Mayor or governor?
Mayor. The mayor
Mayor.
is 2026 next year. So you all are not going to run next year?
No, that our election, yeah, we're on a different election cycle. Ours is in 27. So
That
next year,
confuses me sometimes. That confuses me sometimes.
yeah. So
Okay.
next year in 26, you'll have your district attorney, all of your judges, your justices of the peace, Constable, Hammond, Kentwood. I know I'm missing one, but school board, all your school board, those elections are next year. So next year is a huge, huge election cycle for us. But like I said, we're the following year in 27. So
Okay, well, you got that's still good for you to get out here now because people will know. And I'm like this. I'm gonna just tell you this me. And I know everybody have their choice, like you said, and everybody have a chance to go for it. And somebody else, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just talking about me. Now, if they come out of another parish, they come out of another state, and they get their citizenship here, and then they deem to have more qualifications than you or whatever, they got their right to run.
right.
But me sitting here right now and listen, unless it's got somebody else in your office that have moved up the ranks like you have, and I already know they haven't been deputy because before you was deputy, Gary was deputy,
Right,
and
right.
Dufridge was clerk. Was he deputy?
No, Mr. Dufresh was elected as clerk. He worked in the clerk's office many, many years ago. He worked, if I remember correctly, he said he worked in the mortgage and conveyance department. I'm not
Okay.
sure how long he was there, but then he left, and he was mayor of Ponchatoula for many, many years. And then he was elected as clerk in 2004. He was elected as clerk. Yeah.
Okay, so
So.
who was his deputy before Gary? Or was
So
any
it was so when Julian was elected, he appointed Gary as his chief deputy. Prior to that, Mr. Dahmer was the clerk, and his chief deputy was Allison Corona. So she served as his chief deputy for many, many years. Yeah.
okay, okay. Well, yeah. So everybody out there is almost 2 years before election. a
Yeah.
year, a
It'll
year and
go by so fast, though. It really will.
a year and a half. And just remember this. And one thing Alicia does know, you all, everybody who's going to the clerk of court, talking to Mr. Gary, remember that he's also talking to Alicia. So Alicia is getting a lot of things done for you all. Now he might be the big one sitting up there in the Oval Office, but she's doing a lot of work, and he depends on her a lot. And he supports her 100. First of all, he's supporting her 100, and she's out early because any kind of promotion, I know as a promoter of events, any kind of promotions or elections, you have to get out there. You have to make yourself known. Just like now, you're saying Alicia. You don't always have to just ask for Gary. You can go and ask for Miss Alicia. Because Miss Alicia knows everything about the office. And Miss Alicia, you can rest assured, you could rest assured that if you ask for Miss Alicia, she knows what to send you to. And sometimes you can give Mr. Garrett a break because she'll be able to send you to the place.
That's right. That's right. But listen. like I said earlier, it's not just me. I'm there. I'm always willing to help, but we have a great staff. And so anybody in our office is more than willing to help with anything that anybody needs. We have a great staff. So it's not just me. Believe me, I'm not going to take credit for it all. We have a really great staff that can help anybody. But my door is always open. I am willing to help. But if for some reason you can't get to me, somebody there can help you because we.
I like her spirit too because she always um, exalt everybody, and she exalts her whole office. So I believe that she'll be a person that her staff will continue to support her and be able to work with her because they've seen her face. Everybody that's there, I think Miss Gary told me, she's one of the ones that's been there since before he came. She's one of
Yeah.
the faces in there, her and maybe two other people.
Yeah, there's I think about 4 or 5 of us who we'll call us the OGs. We were there before Gary was, and we like to remind him of that too. But yeah,
Oh,
it's about 5 of us I think that are left that were there before he came. Yeah, so
well, I can speak for my good buddy, Mr. Gary Stanger. And if y'all love Gary, like y'all say y'all do, he wholeheartedly supports Alicia. And you know he do because he moved her to her chief deputy. About that, Alicia, um, is there anyone else at the office that has worked in as many capacities as you have
um,
before chief deputy?
not as many. I don't think so. No, no, I don't. I can't think of anybody right off the top of my head. Now we have some very experienced people who, somebody that comes right to the top of my head is Rebecca Boris. She's our election supervisor now. She took my position after I moved up. She worked in our civil department for a long time, so she's very familiar with the civil department. And now she's doing elections. So we have a couple of ladies like that who have moved from departments. But we have Felicia Joyner. She's our supervisor in our criminal department. And she's one of the ladies who was there before. I'm pretty sure she was there before Gary. But she's the supervisor in our criminal department, and she has many years of experience. And you just, that's where we need her because of her knowledge there. So
Yeah,
she has
'cause every position is not for everybody. So
right.
also tell me this, and the reason I asked that because I know that uh, did you apply for chief deputy or were you handpicked for chief deputy?
I guess I was handpicked. Yeah, he offered me. He said, "Will you be my chief deputy?" And I went, "Yeah."
Now,
Yeah.
just protocol. I'm just asking, how does that normally work when? Because I know Dufresh hired Gary from the outside, so and I know he had the qualifications from what Gary said in the
Yeah.
interview, and it
So
may
it
have people that were there that knew a lot of stuff, but there was some extra qualifications that Gary had up in business and
right, right,
management. So
right.
you're not
But
going to get it from inside if there's somebody else that's more qualified.
yeah. So typically the clerk, when a clerk is elected, they bring in their own chief deputy. And that's how it was with Julian and Gary. Julian ran, but Gary was right there with him, while he ran. And so then when he was elected, he was, given that position. So typically your clerk brings in, someone who, they know that they can trust. And,
Something like the
it's
president elects his vice
yeah,
president.
yeah, it's their second in command. Just like a sheriff has a chief deputy. It's the same thing. So,
So the
and
position that you left when you became chief deputy, is that a one that a person had to apply, or that's another one that the clerk appoints?
we usually pick someone from the office who we know has some experience, and
Okay.
just the election supervisor is very demanding. It takes a lot of work after hours because one, like I said, we have to recruit and train commissioners. So there are several times throughout the year where we have to hold classes and teach these classes. So we're, having to work after hours. And then on election day, we're there for all day long from the time from before the polls open till after they close. So those are very long days. So we have to know that it's somebody who can meet those demands, and typically somebody with small kids, that would be harder for them, to be away from their children. So it's got to be a good fit for somebody, where they are in their life, as far as their kids and their demands, at home, because it does pull you away from your family a lot. I was very fortunate. My kids were little when I did the job, but my parents lived right here, so they were able to help with my kids, when my husband and I were both working. So I was able to juggle it, but it can be very demanding at times. So.
Right, right. Well, I wanted to ask some more, but we'll do it another time. But other than well, those jobs there, you did say y'all mostly put in, but all y'all jobs, a lot of times y'all try to put in, unless it's the lower level jobs like the copy machine. If somebody do move on, sometimes y'all have room to hire somebody else. Like
Yeah.
to take a civil service test or anything like that.
No, no, we're not civil service. We're not state employees. I mean, we're the clerk hires and fires if that's the case, which that's not typically the case. We, like I said, we have good people, but yeah, it's at the discretion of the clerk. So.
Okay, okay. Well, I think this is going to conclude our interview. I didn't pray when we opened up, but God blessed anyway. But is there a final word you want to say before we have our next interview? Because we will be having.
Well, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to be here to talk to your audience and try to let people get to know me better. But I guess just the most important thing is if anybody has any questions for me, I will gladly. My door is always open at work. Call me. I'm willing to talk. Whatever if you have any more questions for me. But then the last thing is just to ask everybody for their support. I know it's a couple of years down the road, and I know people are, like, how are we going to remember this? But I'm going to be out. You're going to see my face. And I just hope that I'll have everyone's support between now and 27.
Y'all already know she's running. I don't know who else is running, but y'all know she's running. And
That's
y'all
right.
know she's highly qualified. So you don't have to wonder about that. She is highly qualified. So anyway, you want somebody who actually know what they're doing, and then you want some. I want somebody that's been there in a while and that is friendly and that do all their best to try to assist you. And also the civil this clerk of court office is an office when some things go wrong a little bit with different things. They're able to step in and maybe stand for you if you need their support on something that might have just been a mistake. You might
Right, right.
be able to be somewhere and I mean
Yeah,
one it should all kind of things happen and
yeah.
they're able if they are familiar with you and you talk to them, they're able to be a little lenient with you from time to time.
Yeah, yeah. We definitely try to guide people through the process. It can be overwhelming for people, whatever that process may be, because there's so many different things that we do. But yeah, we definitely try to guide them and answer any questions that we can. So, well,
Well,
thank you. I really appreciate it.
and I'm going to pray right quick, and we're going to
Okay.
end on the video, share the video. Father God, we just thank you in the name of your darling son Jesus for this opportunity to talk to Miss Alicia, the chief deputy of the clerk of court, and to be able to put it out there to let people know that she will be running in 2027 and that they will give her their support. And we just thank you for what has been said, and we pray that it's been a help to her. In Jesus' name, amen, amen. All right,
Amen.
darling. We
Thank
out.
you.
We out. All right.
All right.